All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another best of three series. Classic matchup here. Lgreen in the green, Goobernugget as usual in the pink.
Yeah, always really excited about these matchups because of how evenly matched the two of these players are.
This looks like a couple of interesting picks. I believe this is a full random series where both players are just picking full random in the Civ selection screen. So uh, they do not know what to expect with these civs, and with these two picks, likely haven't played them before. I know um, Goobernugget has not played as the Dravidians in the past.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think either of these players uh, use either of these civs at all, actually. So I guess strategy-wise, um, really your only option is to either quickly go over your civs, uh, civ bonuses or unique options, or just go with a blanket strategy of whatever would work for any civ, really.
Yeah, and they're also playing on Arena, which is not something we see them play on. These two players in their 1v1s, at least, not something they play on very often against each other. So this should prove to be pretty interesting. Very unusual civs, unusual map matchup, and they're so close to each other too. I mean, this is this is just almost no distance here between. I mean, you got the map zoomed in. You can see both of the corners of their gates, of their
Yeah.
walls on the same screen here. So there's not a lot of room. Um, likely will be pretty much an eco game, but uh,
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I think one of the advantages to playing Arena, obviously, is you have a little bit more time to figure out what you're doing at home before you have to make any decisions outside your walls. So that does give you a little bit more protection to learn these new civs. But looks like both players so far standard builds, nothing, nothing out of the ordinary. I will note, really an odd Arena um, generation, I would say. Generated these um, empty spots in the back of each player's base. I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah, kind of an eyeball looking. If you zoom all the way out, this is it's really neat generation, and would lend itself to a long game. In which case, Goobernugget might have a little bit of an advantage in a longer game because he's got a lot more space in the back. The green obviously has space in the back there, but Pink's base is kind of seems like it's kind of set a little farther up, so he's got a lot more space in the back. So if this game does go long, that could be quite an advantage for Pink. Green taking the early score lead here. Does have a mill, which is something that Pink doesn't have. Interesting. There goes the mill for Pink.
Yeah, so I guess strategy wise for both of these players, again, we know they don't typically use either of these civs, but if you look at um, each civ individually in itself, so the Malians are described as a infantry civ. Yeah, barracks units get +1 pierce armor per age, starting at feudal.
Mm.
That could definitely be used for green, and then on the other side, the Dravidians for Goobernugget. I think, yeah, infantry and naval. Of course, we wouldn't have any naval here, but another infantry civ One of their big bonuses here is that they receive 200 wood when they advance to the next age. So particularly in a fast castle age, as soon as you advance up to feudal, you can build your 2 buildings and move on. Not have to worry about the wood cost there. So
Yeah,
all that to
Dravidians.
say,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say all that to say, if either of these players were to use their civs strong points, looks like it would be an infantry focused game.
For sure. And I know that the Dravidians, known for a while to be a pretty dominant civ, at least in pro play. And you can tell, honestly, aside from all their other bonuses, simply having that 200 wood bump going from age to age, especially going from dark to feudal, having 200 extra wood going into feudal age is quite the leap.
Yeah,
I mean
that's a big deal.
that's a blacksmith, and
Right.
on your way to another market without having to spend any of your already chopped wood.
Right. One other thing I'm noticing here, as Goob advances to feudal, Green able to push deer because one, the deer are inside the walls, and two, he knows he won't have any early pressure. Not sure, there's a lot of debate on whether or not pushing deer actually helps in the long run because of all the attention you have to spend in that. But in this arena, especially if the deer um, start off inside your base, seems like free food.
Definitely something you won't see Pink doing almost ever, as we see Blacksmith and a market coming up for Green immediately. As soon as he goes into feudal age, he starts those being built. Wheelbarrow coming out for Pink. Um, so that's another thing to keep an eye on is the economy upgrades between these two players generally leans towards Pink's favor, and yet Green's ability to get to Castle Age as quick as he can. I mean, he's obviously trying to go fast castle here, already floating 800 food. I'm assuming he'll probably sell up to the Souls Stone, perfect amount of gold to be able to click up to Castle Age. So here we are, 13 minutes into the game, and Green's already clicked up to Castle. Now Pink's getting economy upgrades, kind of taking his time. He does have a few vills on stone, but kind of a blanket strategy right now for Pink, not really focusing on any specific resource or direction, whereas Green, heavy on stone, 10 villagers on stone. He intends to have enough stone for a castle as soon as he hits Castle Age here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Green clearly has an idea in mind. Obviously, getting as much stone as possible. If he were to get that castle down, the Malian unique unit, the Gebetto, don't see a lot of them, but certainly would be a surprise, I think, to Goobernugget to see those. Not something he's used to seeing.
Yeah, Green definitely going for a castle here. Already sending 6 vills out forward. Now Pink could see these potentially.
Oh
Let
wow.
me make sure I know what I'm doing here with my Fog of War. Yeah, so Pink does at least. I mean, they're walking right past his scout. Could have easily seen those, but it looks like Pink is not paying attention whatsoever, and sees that Green goes into Castle Age. Looks like Green Scout is going to go for Pink's. They're going to 50-50 there, but not catching those villagers is going to hurt Pink sorely. 400
Yeah,
wood in the
that's
bank, 500 stone in the bank. I mean, Pink is just not. He's got plenty of resources of all kinds, but he's not really enough of one specific resource. Whereas Green, what is this? 13 villagers on stone. Yeah, putting up a forward castle already. This is dangerous. You see a Vil lead for Pink as well. He's had a couple Vil lead for most of the game. And just not seeing, I mean, maybe the resource production is there, but...
Yeah, I mean, Goob definitely has plenty of resources in the bank right now. At this point, it's just a matter of converting that to military as the castle goes up for green. So all of a sudden, if you're Goob, this is the first time you're seeing that castle or those villagers, and green is knocking at the door. So how do you respond?
Honestly, here, what I'd love to see from Pink, you see this range of the castle kind of going into Pink's wall. What I'd love to see is Pink take a villager. Okay, well, there's some walls. They're not going to be at the right spot. Green's probably going to be able to shoot that Vil down, but yep, Vil goes down. What I'd love to see from Pink is to just put some walls down to seal off that entryway, but he's just not quick enough. Gebetto is already in. This is a unit that deals 10 damage, and this is melee damage. What are they throwing? These are axes? Some kind of throwing axes.
Yeah, like boomerang swords.
Those look brutal. A couple of Gebettos already in. Pink's got a skirm out, but clearly isn't quite sure what he needs to deal with these.
Yeah, it's such an odd unit, something you don't see very often. Them being ranged is a huge advantage for green right now. He's able to snipe Vils and get away. And all of a sudden, villager totals start to sway.
Yep, idle eco skyrocketing for Pink as he's got almost no villagers working right now, with these Gebettos just destroying his wood line. 16 now to 28 villagers.
Wow. And
Pink.
Even with all of this, Gore's not that different, and Pink able to get up to Castle Age while being attacked. So we'll see what Goobernugget can come up with at this point. Certainly his back is against the wall, but we've seen it before. This player is so good at being able to you know, in the face of so much pressure like this, just able to stay composed, and instead of trickling army in, he's able to slowly gather up the pieces he needs to fight this back. So looks like we'll see that again as Goob starts to build some of these elephant archers.
This is a high health archer unit. Slow, but good grief. I mean, it's a 230 health archer unit is just a force to be reckoned with, but they're expensive, and Goob has been crippled. His economy's been crippled, and so he does throw down a siege workshop. Looks like he's hoping to be able to come up with something to maybe make a push at that castle, but I mean, sorry. Excuse me. He's got fletching, padded archer armor, so the elephant archers look strong, but just two of them. And Green's not making, oh, excuse me, he is making 5 Gebettos, so he'll have 6 on the field once these are all made, 6 or 7. But it's not like Green has, you know, hordes of units, like a lot of little basic units. I mean, he's having to spend the money on these high rank units. So I think, again, here, to be honest with you, what I'd love to see is Pink finish this wall. Buy himself a little more time by finishing this wall and stopping, you know, stopping any other incursions. Because as it stands, Green can just walk around, get to his back line again.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it looks like Goob did build the armored elephant, essentially a ram. Actually funny looking at the armored elephant stats. -2 armor and 140 pierce armor. But we know that um, is the Dravidian ram. So looks like Goob will try to make a play on the castle, and looks like Green will come out with his to be expected Scorpion.
Surprising no one here. A tried and true strategy from Green. He loves the Scorpions. Here come the Gebettos from Green. Look, it was a play. It was the play, I suppose,
Yeah.
that Pink had to make. You know, going for some siege rams, going for the elephants, but they don't have melee armor like they need to survive the Gebettos, and the Gebettos do deal melee damage, and so
Right.
they're able to just absolutely shred those armored elephants, completely nullifying that push. As we do see Pink put up a very defensive castle here.
Yeah, that's a big deal. If he could get that up, that would be a huge help for him. Just some defense in his base. Green, I'm sure, knows this and will want to apply pressure, but again, even just those 2 elephants with all the health that they have, hard to break through.
They do have a lot of health to begin with, but their health pool combined is down to less than a half, and an Onager coming out from Green is going to make that a lot more dangerous. And I mean, wouldn't you just love to see a monastery from Pink here? A couple monks to be able to convert Gebettos, heal the elephants. Seems like, I mean, from our perspective, seems like that might be all he needs to turn the tide here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He's
Yeah,
scrambling. That's a Scorpion he's got out. He's searching for options here.
I do like the Scorpion play, though. Obviously, Green is forced to go through a small section of that wall. You could set up some Scorpions and just fire through that little man-made tunnel, basically.
Pink was hoping to put the elephants into the castle to heal them up. A good play, but he does lose both of the Scorpions. A pretty good foresight from Green. Whatever the reason was for that siege onager, it was just in time to take out these Scorpions. 3 rams out from Green, so Pink with no melee units, you know, that could be a problem. They're just battering rams, so you know, if they don't, as long as they are in the castle's range, it can hurt those pretty well. Pink also making the Urumi swordsman, which have a charged attack that deals bonus damage the first hit. And there's the monastery. There's the monastery from Pink, so he does have a monk out on the field. Curious to see what he's going to be able to do with this. At the very least, he's going to be able to heal up these elephants.
Yeah, it immediately starts healing. Yeah, it just seems like Green is just waiting around too much. We know he's building units in the castle, keeping him there for now, but you know, had such an advantage at first, breaking through the walls with the castle at Pink's base. And now it looks like the tides are turning towards Goobernugget at this point. The score, again, really, really close.
This is an interesting choice here. As the elephants are being healed back up, looking a lot healthier. Petards being made from Pink. He knows that he's not got very many options to push that castle, other than maybe some melee units. But he can't really use a ram. Green has the melee damage Gebettos to take out any siege he really has. And so maybe some petards could get in there, do a sneaky, you know, explosion damage. I believe it takes 6 or 7 to take out a castle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. And really incredible decision with the Hirumi Swordsman being the only melee damage dealing unit for Goob, easily able to take out the rams that came in for green, and get a conversion. So all of a sudden you have a army composition that is pretty elite at this point for pink, and green seems to be responding by saying, okay, I'm going back to what I know. Let's go back to knights, any kind of cav, maybe some scorpions, and get back to playing my game.
You got to wonder here, no economy upgrades, no military upgrades, no blacksmith upgrades rather from green. You got to wonder if pink had, if pink focuses here, and maybe throws down a couple infantry upgrades. Maybe throws in the barbed arrow or whatever the second archer upgrade is. These elephant archers could get a lot more dangerous. This is 6 petards now for pink.
Did one just hit a deer?
Wait a second.
Something
I didn't
just
even
happened
catch
there.
that. 5 petards now.
I saw an explosion and
I think
deer died.
he may have clicked on a deer with one of these petards and lost it. Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Well, he's back up to 6 with a 7th coming on the way. The issue is, obviously they can get targeted and blowed up on their way. So he's got to land all of these on the castle. So when he pushes, it's got to be all out. He has to push with all of his units, and looks like he's going for it. This is 2 monks, quite a few skirmishers, now elite skirmishers. His his plan for combating the Gebettos, even though they're not an archery unit. He is full sending it here. 7 petards following along these elephants, hoping to just soak up all the damage they can.
Yeah, what a play to avoid as much castle fire as possible and go around to the gate.
One
But
explodes.
Doesn't get all 6.
But a beautiful play, honestly, by green to hold back with the knights. Takes out the monks. This is huge value for green. He lost hardly any knights there and was able to wait. Must have noticed the petards and pick off 1 or 2 to stop them from dropping that castle. That could have changed a lot.
Yeah, that was a big moment.
Pink is scrambling again, going for more elephant archers. He is upgrading to pikemen, but he has no military on the field. And green has 6 knights in his base.
Yeah, something you never want to see is cav roaming around your base in the back. It looks like he will get to the wood line and cause some problems there.
This is another problem. Look, no loom for the villagers, so he doesn't have any time to react with pikemen. 2 elephant archers is just not quite enough. He does have a monk, gonna try to go for a conversion, but it's just not going to be quite enough to deal with these knights yet. Pink trying to drop a second TC. Very late to that. I mean, this is a double economy count now.
Yeah, so we're in a similar situation as before, where green has an advantage just for a bit, but what is he going to do with it? So he still has the knights in the back. Goob now scrambling to get more military on the field. What can green do in this situation?
I think he can do exactly what he is doing. He knows that pink doesn't have much of a counter to his knights other than the monks, and Goob can't keep making monks forever. Although he does have 19 on gold, apparently. So, he's trying to lean into this gold to just buy his way to a victory here. Irumi Swordsman, a monk conversion, some pikemen. He's able to take out the knights, but look, green, more knights. He's making more, and he has, 3 siege workshops pumping out scorpions. That's now 11 scorpions in the field. He's right back up on top with the numbers. Pink has military now, sure, but it's still looking pretty desperate. But, you know, like you said, though, Green's got to kind of make a decision here. I must have missed this
Yeah,
earlier. Green did go up to Imperial Age, and he has a
yeah, I was gonna
trebuchet.
say,
That's the decision that needed to be made.
yeah, I think that was his go-to there. Be the first to get some trebs on the field. Um, and of course, Goob knowing he's got to go now,
Yep.
trying to send his troops in, but at this point, so many scorpions.
Yep, enough scorpions. It's a really pretty play, honestly. Another treb out from Green. So many scorpions here able to protect these. Only way to get to the trebuchet is through the wall, and the only way through the wall is two tiny little choke points. So Green scorpions are able to shred anything that Pink sends. This is not looking good for Goobernugget. Trying to keep the castle up with these villagers. You know, he does have the stone, and 4 vills is enough to keep a castle alive from 1 treb, but Green does have another packed treb on the ground right now. And it's really just a matter of time at this point. He will Goob will run out of stone. So he needs to pull something out of his back pocket here to make this happen.
Yeah, it looks like the appropriate response from Goob. Getting a mangonel out, but of course the knight's still there for Green. If he's able to get a couple shots on those scorpions with a mangonel, that would be a great leveler. But at this point, it's difficult to even get near the troops for Green, who is now playing defensively. The only difference is he's playing defensively from a castle that was brought forward.
Cavalier upgrade coming out from Green. We now have 4 trebs on the field from Green, so not enough stone, not enough villagers from Pink to be able to keep up with that, to keep the castle alive. Trying for petards again. With the scorpions, though, I think that might be a little bit in vain. He could be just going for the scorpions specifically, but looks like that petard just barely makes it to the gate. Not much further.
Yeah, not a good spot for Pink right now. Looks like this will be it for the castle. And now we'll allow for Green to walk in. And
Yeah.
he'll go ahead and call it.
Most
Wow.
created unit from Goob would be the petard with 13. Oh, man.
Wow.
A
Yeah,
pretty
what a
clinical,
start.
yeah, pretty clinical start from Green in that game.
Yeah, that's again, this is a best of 3, so potentially 2 more to come here, but really interesting first game. I mean, both of these players in new territory, Civ-wise, just came down to really just if we boiled it down to one moment, it was the scout not seeing the villagers walk right past him
Yeah, not
as they
catching
went to the
those is
wall.
brutal.
Yeah, unfortunate for sure. And really good responses from Goob to everything that Green came out with. But I think at about I think it was a difference of 50 vills. Um,
Yeah,
the production just started to take
yeah.
over at that point.
Not much of a way to surmount that outside of some, you know, some sneak attack in the back. I think Goob's one of Goob's only answers there would have been, you know, I think some knights or a couple elephant archers even in Green's economy, or um, landing those petards in the castle. But that's a 2-way street. You know, obviously Green was able to deal with that, so he played that really well. Really good first game from
Yeah, it was a
Green.
great first game. Really excited. I'm absolutely positive that because both of these players are so evenly matched, that each game in this series will be plenty exciting.
These are always competitive, yeah, between these two
Yep,
players. Good game.
great game.